We're going to go ahead and take a peek anyway. Okay, so we're going to go to the sections, and we're going to just take a peek. So we have a hybrid section that has 10 students in it. We have the term section, which has everyone in it. And then we have the on-ground section that just has the residential students that come to the campus every day. So this is set up perfectly. If you do not know how to set up a section, you just come into this box and you type in whatever section you want, and then go add section, and then a new section will pop up. Okay, so let's go ahead and go to people and see what they look like once they're put into these sections. Let's go to people. Okay, so here is a list of everyone who's been entered into the course. So this first student, she is in section on ground. And then the second student is a hybrid student. Okay, so if we wanted to change those sections, we just come over to these three dots to the very right. We click on that, and we go to Edit Sections. And let's say I want to put this on-ground student into the hybrid course, or the hybrid section. I come over here, and I just start putting in hybrid. And then it pops up. I can click on it and update. It's as easy as that. And then I'll be able to X out the on-ground portion, so the student is in just one section at a time. Now, keep in mind, your students can remain in the whole course section. That doesn't hurt anything. We just want to differentiate which program that they're in. Okay, so now we're going to go back to sections, back to settings, sorry. And then we're going to go to course details. Now, the first thing that I kind of want to mention is please do not change the name of the course or the course code. I have recently seen a whole bunch. I'm not going to mention what campus it is. I've seen a whole bunch of courses where the instructor has put their name in here. Please don't do that. This is how we, on the administrative side, find the courses, and it's frustrating when we can't find the courses because they're named something that they're not supposed to be named. I know the intent was good, but I'm asking you, please just don't do that. Okay, so once we're in settings, what we're going to do is, and we haven't been using this feature yet, but I think now that we are sharing courses and we have these sections made, that it's going to be helpful. So we're going to scroll down, and we're going to come to Launch SpeedGrader filtered by student group. We're going to click on that. And anytime you change a setting here, go to Update Course Details. Okay, and then once we've done that, then our setting has been changed, and we will be able to filter our students. So now I'm going to go to the grade book. So let's go into grades. Once I'm in grades, I'm going to go to view. Some of you have already been using this, and that's wonderful. We're going to go filters, and now we are going to assign these filters. At the top of the screen, you'll see boxes pop up for my filtering ability. So there's that. And then we're going to filter by module. And I can also filter by section. Okay, so we'll take a quick review of what this does for us. So the first one I'd like to show you is all sections. So if I'm a hybrid instructor and I just want to see my hybrid students, I can just click on hybrid, and all my hybrid students show up. So I can concentrate just on the students that I'm responsible for. Okay. And if I want to look at just the on-ground students in this course, I go to on-ground, and only the on-ground or residential students are now visible to me. And then if I wanted to see everybody in the whole course, regardless of what program they're in, I can go to click on the course and see everyone again. So it's just a feature that helps us filter out things that we don't need to focus on at the moment. Another feature that I think may be helpful for instructors is the notes section. So if you click on notes, a notes section pops up here. Now this is great for the instructor. Students cannot see these notes. These notes are only for you. So if I wanted to come in here and type in a note, I could put, remind student to turn in this work, or meet with student. I can put any note that I want in there and save it, and it will pop up. So let's just put in something and see if my note pops up. It'll automatically wrap, so you don't have to worry about that. If you want to get rid of a note, you just, and then save it and it's gone. So that's another handy feature that you might want to implement as a reminder. Okay, so now let's go and just take a look at the course itself here with the grades. I want to look at these first two columns because these are really good indicators of how to handle programs that have different discussions or assignments due or not assigned. So let's take a look at this first discussion, discussion 1.1. Discussion 1.1 is only given to our hybrid instructor, hybrid students. The residential students do not have to complete or participate in discussion 1.1. And I know this because of how the sections were set up, and I will show you how to do that in just a minute. Notice that the section has no dash and no number. So I can't even put in anything here. It won't let me. So, because this discussion was not assigned to an on-ground student. It was only assigned to a hybrid student. See, the student is not a hybrid student. So that's a great way and an appropriate way to assign something to a group of students and not another. So let's go ahead and take a look at how that's set up. So I'm going to go into the discussion itself. We're going to go into the edit key so we can see. And as we come down past all the goodies, we see where it's assigned. So this instructor did everything they were supposed to do. They assigned it just to the hybrid students, and then there's the due date. No residential students appear here. They have been locked out of this assignment. It will not count towards a grade. And as an instructor, you don't have to worry about putting anything in there or leaving anything blank. It's automatically done for you. Okay, so let's go back to the grades again. And let's take a look at the next discussion. Take a look at discussion 1.2. So discussion 1.2 is assigned to everyone. Notice there's no grayed out areas. And what I really would like you to notice is there are no dashes. So the students who did not participate in the discussion, they receive 0 grades. So as soon as an assignment is completed and that due date has passed, go ahead and put a 0 in. Now that doesn't mean that the student can't go back and work on an assignment and try to get some points. They sure can. If a student goes back into an assignment, for example, it's not a discussion, it's an assignment where they have to submit something, that 0 that you put in here will disappear and you will see a picture of a page here instead. And that will tell you that the student has gone back and resubmitted and that you have to grade it. So there's no guesswork of how do I know a student didn't submit something and I didn't grade it. Again, it doesn't matter. Let's say that this student decided to resubmit again. There would be, remember, pretending it's not a discussion, that it's just an assignment that it needed to be submitted. They wanted a higher grade. They resubmitted that work. A page would now appear here, and the 34 would disappear. And then the instructor, that would be their clue to go back in and regrade. Okay, does anyone have any questions? I will stop for a moment and we'll look at the chat and see. Okay, so it looks like Carmen said, do you have to assign every assignment ourselves? If assignment is published, it's automatically assigned to everyone. So you don't have to assign every assignment. The only assignments that you would have to make an adjustment to were the assignments only for the hybrid student that they would have to do. So, and they would do those on their own. And pretty much it's limited to, in most of your courses, just the discussions. So then you would do exactly what we just showed here in the discussion, is you would come down and just assign those to that group of students, and then it would lock out the rest. Any other questions so far?
Real good time to ask. Go ahead.
Can you go back and show when you went to the grades and like where you did the, how you filtered out the sections?
Yeah. Okay, so to get, let me get rid of all these and then we'll just do them again. You're welcome. So to take the filters off, you just come to filters and uncheck them. Okay, so this is what most of you will see when the course is brand new. You'll have to come in here and filter. So go to view, go to filters, click assignment groups. Now, assignment groups are going to give you all the assignment groups. So if you just wanted to see the row assignments, just the row, you come here and it will show you all the row and assignments. So these are, this is going to match what you will see in the assignment section. So keep in mind, see here are all your assignments, and as you scroll across, you're going to see, I'm sorry, I don't want to make anybody dizzy. You will see the row, and there are the row behind them. Okay, so if I go back to the assignments tab here, you're going to see all those assignments grouped together, and that would be this section here. So I just looked at this whole section in the gradebook. Now let's say I just wanted to look at one test at a time. I could do that as well. So we'll go back to the gradebook. So if I want to go here and I just want to look at the digestive nutrition test, I can filter and just see that test, which right here. Okay, let's go and filter some more. Do modules. Now modules will allow me to see just sections of the course. So if I wanted to just, I know that all the row are just in the row section of the course itself. Just come here and I can look at just all of the row. Where'd they go here? Here is my row. And let me get this one out of here. There, my row. So I have row and row. So just my row show up. Let's see if we can do something else here. Let's look at just my midterm test. And I can come down here and look at just midterm test, I believe. Oh, well, I can just look at my midterm test from here. It'll show up. So here's my midterm test right here. There's just not very many tests, so it shows them all together on a page. Okay, let's go back to our filter and we do sections. So let's say I'm going to put all these back to everything. And I want to just look at my hybrid. There's everything that has to do with my hybrid students. And then I can break it down into just day one for hybrid. So this would be everything that they would do for, well, actually, they don't have a day one. They have a week one. Let's go to week one. So here's hybrid week one. This is everything that they would have to complete just in week one. So as an instructor, this is really helpful because I can say, okay, here's week one, we're almost over. these are the things that oh, look, I have a student who didn't finish an assignment. So then I can come over here, hit these 3 dots, and I can message that student right here. I can say, hey, all these students, you haven't submitted, and that should match. See, these are all the zeros for that assignment. Or I can just pick one student at a time, however I wanted to do it. Or I can say you scored less than, or they haven't been graded yet. I have some options here, and I automatically communicate with my students better. Okay. Any other questions? Okay, so somebody has, how would you know if it is assigned a hybrid? Is it in the lesson plan? Okay, so that's a good question. If it is, hybrids don't have a lesson plan. Hybrids just have the on-ground course here. So let's take a look and see, how do I know what's in hybrid? So if I go into the course, anything in the weeks is specifically meant for hybrid. So everything in week 1 is for hybrid, everything for week 2 is for hybrid, and so on. So that's how I know they go into hybrid. Now, another little trick that you can tell if something is just specific to hybrid is you can go right into the assignment section. And you can look right here. See the discussion 1-1? It's just in week 1. That means it doesn't go to the on-ground students. It's only for hybrid. Now, discussion 1-2, see where it says multiple modules? That means it's in more than one spot in the course. So if I just kind of hover over that, it's going to show me it's in week 1, which I kind of already know, and it's also in session 1 and 2, which is day 1 for on ground. So these, when you see multiple modules, it means it's for both programs. So as we come down to assignments, you'll notice that this assignment, most of them say multiple modules, so they're assigned to both programs. But assignment 1-2 is only for hybrid. And the row, again, multiple dates, they're in the courses, everybody has to do the row. And the test, multiple modules, they take the same test, they just are in different sections. Any other questions? So it's really, really important for our instructors when they're setting up these courses to make sure that if it's only specifically meant for a program, that it's assigned just to that program. So let's take a look at something else. Let's take a look at discussion 2-1. Now we know it's in week 2, it's only for hybrid. So we're going to take a peek at it and see how it's set up. We're going to go to edit. Now if it's set up correctly, we should only see assigned to hybrid. So let's scroll down. And that's exactly what we see, only assigned to hybrid. So let's go back to our assignments and let's take a look at something that's assigned to everyone. So let's say we know that everybody has to do the row. So let's go ahead and take a look at row. And let's go to edit. Now it's assigned to everyone here, hybrid and on ground. Any questions yet? Now, if I only had something that was assigned to one group or the other, and I forgot to add that group, they wouldn't be able to do it. They wouldn't even see it on their, they wouldn't have access to it.
Hey, Jen, can you talk about the dashes? You see the dashes?
Yes. Now, the
Thank you.
dashes that you see in this course are for test students. So this test student allows the instructor, and a test student isn't in everyone. I'm working with Joe and the online team to see if we can get a test student into every course to help instructors to kind of monitor how students are doing. So you can use this test student however you want. So let's say that Maria came in and said, hey, you know, what do I need to complete to pass? I could just come in here and take her, just plunk in 34, 34, 75, and I can put in 100, and then I can put, let's just put in a 60 and see if you have a 60 if you'd pass. And then I could say, hey, you know, Maria, if you do assignment 1, 2, and you at least get a 60, that'll help you to pass. So that'll help our instructors a little bit. So to get a really good idea of what the dashes look like, I'm going to show you another shell. But before we go there, are there any questions left on what an appropriate shell looks like and how to set things up?
I have another question. So when they're not separated, you know, we haven't been assigning due dates because, you know, it might just be a hybrid and we don't want it to be confused with an on-ground. So now if we have them specifically separated, so you're saying, you know, for the hybrid students, I can assign the due dates right in there for them, right? So I can assign
You
the due
can,
dates.
but technically yes, but we're going to preset dates in the campus shells. So all the dates will, the student will see that all the dates will be due on the last day of the module.
Okay.
And the reason that we're doing that is that we do have a feature, and I'm so glad you brought this up. We do have a feature that we're going to start using, and I'm going to show you it in just a moment. And that feature is going to be our fail-safe. So if something happened and an instructor just missed putting in a grade, maybe they missed a 0 when the student, the dash stayed there, we can't leave any dashes. So we'll have to have a way to have that 0 automatically populate. So in order to do that, we're going to go up to this wheel here. And this is something that I'm going to need each campus to do. Now, whether the campus supervision decides that they want to take this on or want to make sure that the instructors do it, it doesn't matter to me as long as it's done. So what they're going to do, and it's really easy, is you're going to come to this little wheel once you're in the grade book. And then we have this pop up. This is automatically apply a grade for missing submissions. So we're going to click that, and then we're going to put a 0 here. And we're going to update. So what that does is if there were any missing assignments by accident, when that last day of the module occurs, 0s will populate. And that way they should match campus view. Okay, any other questions before we move to an example of a problem with a grade book?
Jen, what about if they're running 2 sides? Can you split them into 2 separate groups, right?
You can make your sections whatever you'd like to make them. So if you wanted to do, you could name them. I prefer, well, for me as an instructor, I would probably want my group with me. So I would say Mrs. Ritter's group, or, you know, Mr. Smith's group. And then that way you could filter it out. It would be filtered right here. You would see Mrs. Ritter's group, Mr. Smith's group. So did that help answer your question?
Well, if you're running 2 sides, like a side A and a side B, and you have hybrid, I mean, if you're not splitting your hybrids or your on-grounds and they're combined, can you still do a separate group in itself plus the hybrid and the on-ground?
So what I would do is I would probably do hybrid group A, hybrid group B, or really yeah, I mean, you could do it that way, or you could do residential group A. You can make these whatever groups you want, depending on how you want to separate your students.
Okay.
Did I answer your question?
You did.
Oh, okay.
Hey, Jen, there's one more question.
If you're going to do a test student, can you do more than one? Like, for example, let's say I've got 3 students on an incomplete course alert, and I want to be able to plug in. Can you just call them test, Maria, test Jane?
No, unfortunately,
No.
we can't. The problem that we have with test students is we have to make sure that they don't take any information back to Campus View, that any information stays just in Canvas so it doesn't transfer,
Gotcha.
and we can only do one at a time.
Okay. It's a
'Cause they
great
have their
tool,
own
though.
fuzzy. Yeah, I like it. I found it handy. Yeah, that'd be great if we could have a whole bunch of them there, but no, we can't.
Jen, we have a chat question, and it's what
Okay.
if it's not a mandatory assignment, but it still shows up on the grade sheet as unpublished?
Okay, so let's go here. We can uncheck unpublished assignments, and it won't show up on. If it's unpublished, it's not going to come up on the grade book at all. So you shouldn't even see it because Canvas doesn't even recognize it as part of the course. So it says, what if but it still shows up on the grade sheet as unpublished. Yeah, like I said, you can go to the filter here and then just get rid of not to show unpublished assignment.
Hey, Jen, I think I heard wrong. Did you say not to put due dates in? Or put it in for the end of the month?
We've had a whole bunch of problems with due dates in multiple campuses, and it's only because it's not anybody's fault. It's just how we're using the Canvas shells and how we're combining them with different programs. And the dates have been seeming to cause some issues with students becoming confused and other problems. And then if on top of that, instructor puts the date in and forgets to put a 0 in, then we have a dash that's left that is throwing off a student grade as it compares to Campus View. So in order to fix that, we thought we'd try just to populate all the assignments with one date, which would be the last day of the module. Now that doesn't mean I want everybody to have all the work turned at the end of the module. That would just be a nightmare, and all our instructors would just go crazy, and that'd be horrible. But so what would probably be a best practice would be at the very first day of the mod that the instructor provides these due dates. So they're going to still assign them as they would a regular module that they've already been doing. It's just they won't input them into each assignment in Canvas because they'll already have a date there. So my suggestion would be to have your instructors make up a calendar and then take that calendar and upload it to their contact your instructor information page, as well as let their students know on the first day to put these dates in their own calendar. So how do they do that? They would have to come to their Canvas calendar here on the very first day. Hopefully this pops up. The students can go to their own calendar, and then they would populate their own assignment date. So that the instructor said, okay, you're going to have a row due on the 9th. Then the student would come to the 9th and click on the 9th and put in row 1 is due, and then they choose the date, and they have their own calendar, and then do submit, and then that row will pop up. So they can put their own dates in to remind themselves. Now this date will not reflect in the course. It just reflects on the student calendar as a reminder. So they have that to do, plus they can also be reminded about due dates in announcements by the instructor. Any questions so far?
I have a question about the calendar since you're on it.
Okay.
So quite a few of the students use the calendar and use that link to go right to the assignments. Is there any way to have them be able to add the link like we're able to do an announcement with that hyperlink?
Let's take a look. Let's see. I don't believe so because I think this is done on the, well, they might be able to. Let's see. They can go here.
To your left is the hyperlink
Okay.
and they don't have that option.
No, they don't. They just have external
good.
link. Yeah. Now, if it was made by the instructor, then it'd be different because then it would automatically link to the course. But then it would
So-
defeat the purpose of putting in the state. Mm-hmm.
So I have a question, and I know in a perfect world, our students would have their internet connection and they would have their tablet or laptop or whatever we provide them, but we all know it's not a perfect world and they don't always have those things. I can probably say most of my students do their assignments from their cellular devices, and they rely on that link in the calendar to access it because the phone doesn't operate the same as if they were on a real electronic device. So if we're not putting in due dates for the rows anymore in some assignments, some of my students are really going to struggle to be able to do their work.
Well, they can put their dates in their Google Calendar. They don't have to use the Canvas calendar. And that's linked to their phone. I would suggest they do that. I mean, we all use our Google Calendar, all of us, so they
I'm
have
not-
a Google Calendar.
I'm not talking about the Google Calendar. I'm talking about what was said before, how when we put a due date on an assignment, it populates on their Canvas calendar, and then they just click that link and it takes them directly to the assignment.
Right, it will, but I mean, we don't have a perfect world like you just said, and I mean, at what point, I mean, they have to be responsible for remembering things, and they're going to have to be responsible to look at their calendar. If they put in their Google Calendar, yeah, they won't get a link, but they'll still get a reminder to go to the Canvas course and to complete their work. What we want to avoid is to have students who think they've passed a course get called back in because of an error that we could have prevented. And we're kind of working through this, trying to figure out the best way to make that happen. And I mean, I don't know, maybe down the road we will change that, but
Okay,
for now,
Jen,
I think this might be the best
let's
fit.
say-
Yep.
Jen, right now, let's continue to just focus on the correct way to grade these assignments.
Okay.
And let's
Okay.
circle back to the group about ROW due dates for the upcoming mods and provide some more clarification to the group. I think that's going to add, we're going to bring up a lot of questions here that's going to really only apply for mods that are upcoming, and we will provide additional guidance for everyone on those.
Okay. So for those modules that are currently running, you may still put in due dates. So let's go ahead and take a look at that. So let's go to a module and come down to our due dates. So here's our row 1 due date. And we go to edit. And then we have the hybrid program, and they have their due date. And then we have this row assigned to the on-ground students without a due date because their instructor told them when that due date would be. So we don't have a conflict in the calendars. We have a conflict with students not knowing what dates are what. So very easy to do the rows. And that will, well, that'll change for the hybrid, but the due date's different for on-ground because of the instructor schedule and other reasons.
How will the calendar know to default to 0 if there's no due dates in it?
Well, there will be a due date because there will be, not for this current module, but for future modules, there'll be a due date. There won't be a fail-safe for that. But we're going to be adding those dates in future modules, not current modules. So currently, you're going to have to go in and make sure there are no dashes. and that everything that's supposed to have a dash, that has a dash in it, has a 0. And if they're in their proper sections, the students, you won't have to worry about the dashes of being in an assignment that they did not have to do. All right, so for example, let's go back to the grade book that we like. We're going to go to all sections. Okay, so if this discussion was assigned to everyone, then you would see dashes here that were ungraded. But since this discussion was set up properly and only given to hybrid students, the on-ground students don't have anything there. It's just grayed out. We don't have to put a 0 in. Canvas recognizes it as not assigned to that section, and it will not consider it in a grade. Whereas discussion 2, you see that it was assigned to everyone. We do not see dashes because the instructor did it properly and put 0s in for the students who did not participate. Let's take a look at one that is not done properly. So here's our, and this is the same course. So remember, discussion 1.1 was assigned only to hybrid students. Let's take a look and see how it was set up incorrectly. So we're going to go to edit for this one. Now remember, our correct one only had hybrid students. This one has ground students doing it as well. This should not be here. This should be removed. Because now it's telling Canvas that both of these programs have to complete this discussion, and that is not true. Only the hybrid students had to complete this discussion. Ground students should not be here at all. That is why when we go into the grade book and we look at discussion 1.1, we have dashes. Now remember, discussion 1.2 was set for everyone to do. And when you look at this grade book, the instructor did not put a 0 here for this student. So this throws off our student's grade. Now, I'm not sure exactly what's going on with that student, if they were active in the course or not at the time. It doesn't matter. We're just looking at the discussion grade at the time right now. So you see the difference. So if I'm an instructor and I'm looking at this, maybe I'm a substitute instructor or I'm the associate director, I'm looking at discussion 1.1 and saying, oh, these students, they get 0s. They have dashes. They should have 0s there. If I was to put 0s in here, it would artificially lower these students' grade, and they weren't even supposed to do it. Okay, so we have question. The what if feature. The what if feature is great for students to use. If they want to use that, that's okay for them to use, but it's not available for the instructor to see. So that's where the test student comes into play. If we can get that in for everyone, it's more helpful. And then, so we do not put in due dates for traditional students. Currently, no, don't put due dates in for traditional students. It can be confusing for them because they see all these different dates, and that, I think that's where we're having trouble. And then says, what if a student is a drop? Should we put a 0 in or leave it as a dash? I'm not sure how to answer that, Sharon. What do you think? If they're dropped, it doesn't matter, does it? Or should we just populate with 0 anyway to be consistent?
Right. You want to make sure that when they drop, they have the most current and accurate grade. So you put a 0 in because they didn't submit the assignment.
Okay. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let's take a look and see how dashes can impact other grades here. We're going to kind of scooch it down here and take a look at 7.1 and nutrition. So these are assignments. Sorry if I'm going too fast. Okay, so here's assignment 7.1 in nutrition. Okay, so assignment 7.1 and nutrition are both supposed to be completed by the on-ground student. So it looks like nutrition was set up properly by the instructor because we have these grayed out sections only for hybrid students. So yay, that was done right. However, what do we see that we shouldn't see? We're seeing dashes. And we know that these are ground students because it says ground here and it's open for them. So here it was done properly, zeros were added. For this student, dashes were still inputted. So we should have put zeros here, which will then give us a more accurate grade to match what we would see in CView. So let's take a look at what the grade is for that student right now. So the final grade is a 63.98. So let's go ahead and put zeros in and see how it changes the grade. And now we're going to come across and see. Now we have a 62.13. Now granted, it's not a large jump or decrease, but it still changes the student's grade. That's why you cannot leave dashes instead of zeros. Any questions? And I think I'll put these back only because they were here originally and I don't want to mess up any reports that have been run. Okay. Any questions? Sharon, Ryan, have I missed anything? Anything you want me to retouch on?
No, I think you've done a great job, Jen. But let's leave it open. There's a lot, I think, for individuals to think about right now, kind of reflect back on areas of opportunity here. Wait for questions, whether it's on the chat or please speak up at this time. This is a great time to ask the questions.
Yeah, I mean, there's no judgment. We're not trying to belittle anybody or any campus. This is all learning experience for all of us. It's a living, breathing thing, this Canvas, and we will make adjustments as we need, and we'll do it together as a team. So now's your chance.
Hey, I have a quick question, please, if possible.
Go ahead.
All right. The tiles for the shells, a lot of mine will disappear before the time frame is up. Is there something or a cause or what actually causes that?
Are you talking that they disappear from the student or from you?
Now, for me, like on my dashboard, when I go to my dashboard, yeah.
Okay, so yeah, I think this is the easy one. So if we come to the dashboard, now the tiles will stay as long as the date, it's within the date range. As soon as the date expires for that module, the tiles disappear, but they don't disappear from your access, just from your dashboard. So, and to get those back, what we do is we go to courses, sorry. Come on, courses. And scroll all the way down to all courses. And that's where you'll find them. All your courses that have finished, they'll be in the all courses section. And see the stars here? The stars will be like this one, this practice one. If I wanted this one to pop back up on my dashboard, I just click the star and it will come back up. So you'll just scroll down. I don't have any active courses because I'm not attached to a campus teaching currently. So mine are all the way I want them. But you'll find that your expired courses won't have the star filled in. So to get them to pop up, just click back on your star and it'll come back up on your dashboard for you. And then when you want to clear your dashboard out, then you just come here and click the star again. If I click it, it will uncolor, and then I won't be able to see it on my dashboard anymore.
Okay, thank you.
All
You're
right.
welcome.
Jen, let me
If
answer.
you ever have trouble,
Let me answer a
you
couple of
can't find it,
questions.
just tell me and I'll let you know.
Let me answer a couple of questions that are coming through that I think are confusing people. So this training today was solely meant to confirm that we're all uniformly grading assignments the same way accurately in Canvas. I know there's a lot of questions about due dates now for homework assignments and upcoming mods. So for this mod that you guys are all filling in, there's no need to make any changes to your process in terms of assigning due dates. The procedures that Jen laid out really are meant to group students together to make sure that those group hybrid and residential students have the correct assignments attached to them so that the grading then is accurate in Canvas with the grade that was earned. If a student did not do the assignment, it's a 0, not left blank. I know that there will need to now be some clarification for everyone to be sent out with regards to due dates, and we'll make sure we do that before the next mod rolls around on 1/23. So for right now, just the takeaway from the training will be the grading in Canvas, and you will receive additional updates from us with regards to due dates for future mods.
Yeah, so
And I'm
please
just going to add
don't
to
worry
that
about
too.
due dates now.
Right. What we have seen periodically too is that what Jen was just showing is there were no groups differentiating between hybrid and residential students. And I think if one of the biggest takeaways today is that you need to have your students in the specific groups and the correct assignments attached to that, no dashes, okay? Got to have a 0 or a grade in there in order for Canvas to give us the accurate information.
Yeah, so Sharon is right. Like Jen mentioned it earlier, in the vast majority of cases, there's been no negative impact.
Change your tomorrow with short-term healthcare training from Ross Medical Education Center. In just 9 months, you could prepare for a career as a medical assistant and be ready to work in doctor's offices, hospitals, and healthcare facilities. Ross provides a small, supportive environment with hands-on training and experienced instructors.
The accelerated program at Ross was perfect for me, and here I am 6 months later working in a doctor's office.
Visit us online at rosseducation.edu to find out more.
The great thing about Ross was that in 8 months I learned how to do everything I could for my career.
I love the small class sizes.
Everything was hands-on and relevant. They made me realize I could do anything.
I could go to school in the morning and be home at night with my daughter. When I was almost done with my program at Ross, I started my externship and then I got hired.
6 months later, here I am working in an awesome medical facility.
Visit rosseducation.edu.
Sharon, are you able to mute the group?
Discovering Ross, it changed my life. I chose to go to Ross because I love helping people. In class, it was like a whole nother family. Everybody helps everybody. Everyone was there for one another. As my externship was coming to a close, they asked me if I would like a career there. I love my job now. Absolutely adore it. Having a set schedule to where I can actually spend time with my kids, it's changed everything for me. I discovered Ross and I changed my tomorrow.
Change your tomorrow today.
Before I attended Ross, I was working 3 jobs. It was very hectic, and I know I needed a change.
All right, thank you.
Got it.
So in the vast majority of the cases, students were not negatively impacted or impacted at all by the grading that Jen expressed in Canvas. You know, the fact that we left some residential students blank for hybrid assignments, we still had the correct grade go to Campus View. So all the changes that we're asking everyone to make in terms of their grading now is in preparation for a future push from Canvas to Campus View to take off some of this manual grade enter into the system. But the only way we can get there is if all this grading is uniformly done across the board. So these processes that we've outlined today, it'll take a little bit of time to, I think, get into our normal day-to-day process, but go back to your campuses, train your instructors, make sure the grading is implemented for this mod, and then we'll evaluate over the course of the next few months before we decide to formalize any auto push from Canvas to Campus View. But just rest assured that the majority of students were all graded correctly. There's nothing negative impacting our students this way. We're just trying to prepare ourselves for the future automation that we'll have through this system. We've only got a minute or so left, but any final questions for me or Jen or Sharon that we could answer for you? Everybody's muted, so you can chat in the chat box if you have any questions. We'll give it one more minute.
And I just want everybody to know, please, if you're still unsure, to reach out to Jen is our super user. There's no doubt about it. She has this down to rocket science, and I'm here to support you. I'm sure the online team is here to support you. So please do reach out. Don't just take a stab at it. This is what we're here, is to support you.
We'll give it another 30 seconds or so if anybody has any final questions. Yes, Kat, this recording, I think Sharon will probably just post it on Google Drive and then share the link with everyone.
I sure will. It'll take a few minutes before I get it. So hopefully by the end of today, I'll have it posted.
All right, everyone, I really do appreciate your time today. I know Friday afternoons are always really, really busy, so I appreciate you taking an hour out. Hope everybody has a great weekend.